Karibuni sana to another Sana Kwa Sana anniversary conversation. We have done a couple of this. We talked to Romy Swahili.
Yep.
We've talked to Michelle Gatwiku.
Yep.
And we've also sat down with Elsie Wameo.
Uh-huh.
And the lineup is only consisting of greats.
Yeah, man, the
And
greatness.
today with us, we have the pleasure of sitting down with the one and only duo.
Gurus.
Of Unganisha. And so if you've watched our previous conversations, today's is a different one in terms of two things. One, it's an audio, not a video as you're used to. And then I have Irauka, my lovely brother.
Yo,
joining
habari
me.
yenyu, habari yao.
This is his way of taking my job. Once I stop doing these conversations, he's slowly seeping into that position, and we are transitioning into him doing this. So we'll have a conversation with Unganisha on Kucheza, their debut EP that came out last year. It's a few months after the first anniversary. Came out on Feb 11th.
Yep.
So it's a few months after, and we'll reflect on the EP and get more insights from them. So do you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Yeah, habari yenyu ni Irauka hapa. You can follow me after this home. Mtandao sidhani napatikana.
Your resident Sana Kwa Sana hater.
Mazejo. No, I love everyone, man. I love everyone, including kwanza most as since nimepewa the chance kwanza. The duo that tuna interview today, I love their work.
Thank you.
My introduction to their work was Kucheza. And from there nimeenda nikasikiza a few of the songs zile ziko nyuma kidogo na the current releases. Najua the current one ni Ochwe, but we're not there yet. Yeah.
This is your best EP of last year.
Yeah, it actually is.
Oh, no. Thank you.
It's actually our best EP of last year.
Yeah, we have something in common.
Yeah. So and you also have color in common.
Yeah.
The colorful duo that
exactly.
we have here. Introduce yourselves to the people as we get into this conversation who've just jetted back into the country.
Jet. Jet is a heavy word, but we can only hope. We're Unganisha. I'm Labdi, a singer-songwriter from Nairobi. I play Oroto.
I'm Banje. I'm from Norway. I'm a producer and interdisciplinary artist.
You could start by telling us how your performance was, where you're from. How was the experience there?
Well, we were in Mayotte, which is a very interesting island. It's part of the Comoros archipelago. Koro. Listen to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a very interesting place to be. I mean, when you're from a big city, you don't realize how big Nairobi is until you go to a very, very small town, you know. But it was really fun. We got to meet some really cool artists. The show was amazing. We had some really good reception. And I think that's what really normally matters, that people enjoy the music, especially most of them are listening to it for the first time. I mean, of course, the organizers, they came from nowhere. We didn't even know where they knew our music from. So it was just interesting in that sense that they decided to book us and fly us out. And, it was really cool.
How was your experience?
The same? No. And also the festival is called Kayamba Festival, named after this Kayamba instrument, the shaker thing. There was one artist at the festival, Maya Kamati. Amazing artist, and she was playing this live. Yeah, I think it was really... This was a bit different from other shows or other festivals we've done before, in the sense that we felt that all the other artists were more aligned... Not sound-wise, but in maybe like musical philosophy, or like how they were like trying to like create something new or push boundaries, or it was a really eclectic but very interesting lineup of DJs and artists, like two Singeli artists from Tanzania, Jemita and Kadilida. amazing people that we were lucky enough to share an Airbnb with. So yeah, we got to know them a bit. Yeah, it was just and then the whole island is it's like a tropical paradise. I mean, it's like you can just pick fruit wherever you want. You swim with turtles. You say hi to lemurs, and you hike for 45 minutes in like a 60-degree angle to get a good view of
it felt like 90 degrees.
Yeah, okay. for you. We figured out who's the fit one. Eh?
The shade.
I saw that it's, do you call it a France province or a France territory? Did you get to learn about the history bit?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those. It's interesting. It's an interesting conversation for me because when we still have African countries that are territories of our other European countries, it's a bit problematic. But it is French territory. Yeah.
And they have voted. There's been like several referendums where they have voted to stay with France, but it's still very like contested, the whole thing. Comoros, the rest of the Comoro Islands want them to be part of Comoros. They don't want to. The UN has tried to put out several, I don't know, some kind of things that UN puts out to I don't know, resolutions or something.
Yeah.
But they're still under French control.
Yeah.
So we were here last month for our friends who was hosting a conversation on the ethical angles and aspects of sampling electronic music.
Yeah.
And you shared about the history of Unganisha, and Bunch is the one who tells the story, right?
Yes. So he can do it now again if you want.
I wanted to ask him.
He's always ready.
If you can give the history for those who are not aware for the upteenth time.
Yeah. No, I've been giving it so many times the last week. It's let me just
I don't
turn
even
on my
know it
autopilot
anymore.
here. I can just relax.
I already switched it on before you got here.
Oh yeah,
so.
okay, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, it's become like that's my job in Unganisha is to explain the story.
Forget the music. That's his job.
Yeah, so it started back in 2016. It's the first time I came to Nairobi. I was just looking for local artists that could kind of like explain or like show me the music scene in Nairobi or talk about it at least. So I met Labdi through a mutual friend. We sat down at The Alchemist, had a coffee, just chatted about random things in the music scene. Labdi told me about the Urutu and how she was the only girl to play the Urutu and the whole story behind that. It's very interesting. And then I think towards the end of that talk, we just started, maybe we can do like a collaboration. I think it was kind of just, let's see what happens kind of thing then. I started exchanging some ideas through WhatsApp. And then Labdi came to Norway the first time in 2017. We had this, for me, horrible show because we only had 2 days to prepare instead of like a whole week.
For me, it was fun.
Yeah, you had fun. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Thank you.
So we started building slowly from there. I was already coming to Kenya a lot because of this orphanage that I support in Mombasa. So I started putting more time in Nairobi. We got to work more together. And then I feel like in 2019 is like when we found kind of our sound and our visual aesthetics and figured out kind of what this project was going to do. And then the ball started rolling, and then it was shut down by COVID, as everything else. But now we're on full speed ahead again. Yeah.
Where did the name come from, and why?
It was actually my idea. With my incredible Swahili knowledge.
That surpasses my own.
Yeah.
It's beyond me.
Yeah.
I promise you, I can tell Ban something in Swahili, but you know what he'll do? He'll go and check on Google if I've said the right thing. So that's how good his Swahili is.
Yeah.
Google worthy.
Yeah, Google
But
worthy.
yeah, it actually came from him, and it just made sense. I personally struggle with creating names for things. Yeah. So I'm glad someone else named me.
I think maybe it's also easier somehow because I didn't have that kind of the same connection to the word, not being a native Swahili speaker. So maybe it was easier for me to distance myself and see it more as just a name for the duo. But I mean, the idea behind the name is because we talked about this early on, that we really wanted to not like just lab this traditional music and throw some beats on it or whatever, like this kind of, which often happens in cross-cultural collaborations when you don't have enough time. So it was important for both of us to like create something new. So we wanted the name to represent that it's like a re-synthesizing of like fragments of our both our backgrounds and all the inspirations that we get from both our history, but also like from contemporary music. And yeah.
And was that before you started working together and releasing music and performing, or was that after you started working together?
The name, we had the name before you came to Norway the first time.
Yeah.
Because it was part of that. Yeah.
It was part of the poster.
Yeah.
So we can get into the EP, and you drew.
Yeah.
And then you designed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What was the concept behind the artwork as we get into now the project itself?
I think for me, when it comes to Unganisha artwork, it just, all the inspiration comes from the song and what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. So that's where my drawings normally start from. Just what I hear. There's never a plan. And I can't even remember what I drew for that EP. That's just how random it normally comes. But then I know the key factors in any Unganisha artwork, it has to be fun. Yeah. It doesn't particularly have to communicate much, but it just needs to be popping, and that's literally it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And just to make that clear, it's like 99% labdi. My design is more kind of adjusting it's more like kind of like when you're mastering a track at the end, like do the final tweaks of making it kind of look somehow similar to the previous artworks. Also, there was a bit more work before when you drew on by hand and scanned, because it's a bit more work to get it like popping. But now that you do it digitally, it's very it's just kind of like placing the elements and making sure that it somehow is streamlined according to the rest of the visual discography.
So there's a video we did on our channel that we were talking about the best covers of 2022. And then we also discussed artwork generally. And one that we both had, the person I was with on the video, who is Abe, was your project as one of our best covers of last year. And there's a comment here I'd like to read, and then Mneza share your thoughts regarding the same. It's from a huge pillar of support of Sana Kwa Sana, Nyanchama, if you're listening, asante sana. And alisema, from this lineup, I love the Kucheza album cover the most. It looks like how I feel when listening to Unganisha. Dreamy, psychedelic, unanchored, flowy, fun.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That's very lovely. We think, that's amazing. That's very sweet, yeah.
So when you recorded Kucheza, the single, in 2019, or released it in 2019, where your vocal performance on that song is something else.
Thank you.
Entirely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And
thank you.
Was
Thank you.
the EP in plan then?
No.
No,
we had, at that point, I think 2019 was like when we started to make a bit more long-term plans, but not for this. Like we just had this, it was our second single and we wanted to do a music video. So we had started thinking more kind of visually collaborative together.
Yeah.
You did some drawings that we put in the video. So that was really like a one-off, and then we didn't have any.
Yeah, we didn't have any particular plans at that time.
No.
Actually, I feel, in my opinion, the way Kucheza, the EP came about was just we had these tracks and we decided to, put them together because it kind of sounded like where we were at the moment. Yeah.
It's also nice to like put something together that's a bit more than a single.
Yeah.
Even though EP, it's kind of like maybe more of a collection of single songs than as opposed to an album.
Yeah.
But we're working on our debut album now, and we're excited to like go even more into that kind of being able to tell a whole story and explore even more like different sides of our sounds and what it can be.
Going into the EP, Kucheza, how was the creative process of bringing it together? Talking of production and the lyrics, what came first? How did it all work?
Our creative process is very different from the way it was at the beginning. Okay. Because at the beginning, I feel it was more like Bant would have some ideas, he would send them through, and then because we didn't know that we would be together very many times during the year, we didn't have that luxury of time. So whenever I was in Norway, we'd get all those tracks that he has and then write the lyrics and get to producing them. But now it's different because sometimes we create at the same time in the same room. He starts producing, I produce, put the lyrics together. He has some ideas on the lyrics and that type of thing. It's very much more collaborative. And for Kucheza, because it was kind of like a lengthy project, we didn't have a timeline for it. I want to say that the creative process is very different. Sometimes we'd go into the studio and I'd write the lyrics there in the studio and just record them there. For other tracks, it was different. Maybe I wrote them before. So it really varies.
Okay.
Like Luangni Hotel we even played that, like a early version of that we played at that festival in 2017.
Yeah.
And you even told me that about your process currently, because Labdi now is getting into production. While we were here for the Jadili session afterwards, you mentioned that. And you talked about Luangni Hotel. And that song is one song that was released right before the project. So how long was the project in the making? How long did it take from start up until completion?
That project is actually it carries a sore a sore memory, because it's not like we planned to. I think it was mostly we planned the EP release towards the end of the EP release. Like I'd want to say maybe 6 months before. That's when we started really putting things together, trying to get a team to help us release it. And that obviously didn't go well, so we had to self-release, you see? Yeah. So it's one of those things where like we didn't sit down and say, like this album, for example, now we're sitting down, we're actually creating just for the album, Yeah. So it was a process that was just, step by step. And then 6 months into it, we're like, okay, now it's time to release an EP. How many songs do we have? Do we like these songs? Let's pick these songs, that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think both Leko and Luangni Hotel was kind of like created by themselves in a way.
Yeah.
Because they were actually originally ideas for another project that predates Sunganisha. So they're very old, like from probably spring of 2017, like the first ideas. And then Chunya, Duguru, and Koro, we created more sort of together.
Yeah.
Or like not... They were all also created very differently, but they were more kind of specifically for the EP, of making an EP.
I want to say, like, how I can explain it is like, when you don't know what you're going to eat, then you open a fridge and then you're like, oh, I have tomatoes, I have this, I'm going to make this. That's how the EP was created. You've had some...
relate? There's no fridge, but
there's no fridge.
For your counter.
Don't worry.
The cabinet.
It's cold enough. Okay. Unapata Blue Band, peanut butter. Kuna peanut butter?
Mayai.
Hakuna peanut butter. Exactly. You pick, you see, you have ingredients. You assemble. You assemble what you have.
It's a pizza.
And then you create, exactly.
Anything.
Do you have pizza ingredients? Sorry, man. I can't help you there. I can't help you. But that's literally how it was. It was created.
My next question was about how you chose the songs for the EP, but I feel like you have more or less given us the criteria in which you chose. So I want to ask, are there songs that you had thought you were going to put in the EP that didn't make it?
I don't think so. What was the next one we put? Oh yeah,
I was going to say, I think we had like 2 extra songs that we'd already produced or were mid-producing that we didn't put in because we felt some type of way. But it's not like we put them out because they were not worthy. It's just we'd planned for them for another time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Gondi.
Yes.
Not, that one's also from early days of Unganisha.
Yeah.
And we haven't performed in a very long time.
But
it was like recorded way back. But so that one we used for the single, the vinyl single that came out in September last year. So
that he ordered.
and never
Has
got.
never gotten.
Okay.
Yeah,
Heaven Slade, if you're listening.
yeah. Heaven Slade.
I've been in communication with them via email. So eventually, we just decided I get a refund because
Really?
there was
Okay,
I
we'll
have-
get you one. We'll get you one.
Yeah.
We'll get you one, like free of charge. Don't worry about it.
I
Yeah.
ordered the vinyl. And before your next question, so because it was mostly just compiling songs and a compilation idea,
Yeah.
why did you feel Kucheza as a title fit the project?
Because it's playful. Again, he took a lot of the reins in naming, as usual. But it's really just about our vibe. Our vibe is very playful. If you have been to any Unganisha show, you know, it's just like fun. I mean, look at our outfits. Like, what is even this? You know, artwork. You know, it's just literally our vibe. Because also when we go into studio and when you're creating whatever it is you're creating, our rule is, it's never that serious. There's nothing that can be ever so serious, you know. And sometimes when you're doing a collaboration with other people, we've done so many collaborations between us. It's like in the tens of, I don't know what, I don't say millions, but that's a lie. But when you're collaborating a lot of times with other people, it becomes such a serious thing. It's like you're trying to impress yourself and the other person at the same time and impress your grandparents. It's like everything that you've ever become is you know,
on that.
this moment, you know, will define everything, you know. But when we're creating together, it's just like, it's just random. Whatever, everything goes, you know. And that's the name of our label. Everything goes.
Anything goes.
Anything goes.
Everything. You see?
Anything.
It's anything goes, right?
Anything.
Because he named it. You see, I can't even remember.
Anything goes.
The name.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, you get the point.
Everything goes. Anything goes.
Everything,
whatever.
anything, whatever. Yeah. Just look on email, everything, anything.
Just gonna rename the label to whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's back to like how we wanted to create something new with Unganisha, and I think that's why, because it was almost like we created this kind of like self-living organism or entity outside ourselves. So it wasn't like feels very kind of like there's no ego in the process. We're not. I know it has its own kind of ego or its own kind of expression, and then we feel this freedom to express ourselves and create without this fear of failing, which I think is very common in creative processes. You fear failing so much. It's like I think we both feel like we can do anything. It doesn't mean that we necessarily do anything, but we can do anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Okay.
There were the EP you said there are songs that existed way before you thought of the EP.
Yeah.
And there are others which you actually sat down and put together for the EP.
Yeah.
My question is with regards to the recording, because you've mentioned how you used to work earlier on, was Bant would send you some of his production and then you write down lyrics and then send back for the EP. Where did you record the EP and how were the sessions? Did you record all the songs once you had all the songs and you knew this is for the EP? Did you record them all at the same place now, or re-record them, or like how did it go and how were the sessions for?
I think I remember we made Leko in Oslo. Again, I had a kind of like the beat and the guitar hook, and we made the whole arrangement and the bass lines and all that, and all the vocals, and we recorded there. Levagne Hotel, I can't remember where we recorded. Probably Oslo 2, because it was way back.
I'm trying to remember.
And then the other 3 we did in Nairobi.
In probably different studios. I think one of them we did in Rongai. Did you ever go to that studio in Rongai?
Oh yeah, Bengatronics.
Yes, Bengatronics.
Yeah, we had a session there. We had several sessions in Box Media in Galat's old studio.
Yes, yeah.
And I remember both Chunya and Dogoro was kind of, I would say, like the typical workflow now is that, or has been for a long time, it's often starting with like I have made some kind of rough sketch.
Yeah.
of something. It could be just a bass line or a bit more, but kind of like very unfinished, because then there's a lot of room for Labdi to like then starting adding vocals, and then like the whole song and the sound kind of develops from there. So up until now, with the album where we started producing more, both of us, that has kind of been the process. Koro was a bit different because that one I made during Corona, so it's kind of like almost there was the whole arrangement. Like the song was kind of more ready, and was more like the typical producer of Labdi being more like a top liner coming in, and then Kasiva coming in, adding her things as well. Which for me makes it a bit, I don't know, there's something, I feel like it's too much of me in that song somehow. I don't know, it's for me, that's I don't like that process so much, because I've kind of like, the song has gained this kind of shape and form already before others are coming, or Labdi is coming in, and it doesn't have the same exciting. Maybe it's more about like how I really enjoy the exciting process of how things develop from like something which is kind of like unshaped and raw material, and then the magic that happens when we get in the studio and things are starting to bounce back and forth really quickly. And with Koro it just wasn't so exciting. So
Anything to add?
No.
But did you feel that Koro was different from as opposed to the other songs?
No, not really, actually. Okay. When it comes to recording, I feel like my recording process it almost feels like it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm happy with the results, I move on and I forget, I think. That's just how it is for me. And it's very interesting because he has like a good backlog of the process. Normally, I'm just like, where did we record it? When? Oh, what? What lyrics? What? You know, because it's very much in the moment, you know? Yeah. Then I have to create space to create more in my brain, so I forget.
I think in general we work on quite different timelines. Like I often I need like to work on things for a long time. I need to let it rest and then come back to it and whatnot. And Labdi is very like explosive creating in the studio. And I think that works out as well. Like when we're in the studio, we can like bounce back and forth really quickly. But then after that, now again, like I need like time to process and let things kind of like rest. So it's like marinating first and then frying it quickly and then let the meat simmer for a bit. And then you do the final seasoning at the end. I don't know where that barbecue metaphor came from, but
it's a lot of, it's because you're
anything goes. Anything goes.
It's because you're hungry.
You brought up Kasiva when you mentioned how you worked on Koro. I'm curious about your collaborations on Kucheza. Why Kasiva? Also, did you have any other artists in mind that you wanted to work with that you weren't able to work with? And looking back now, are there any artists you looking back you would have liked to work with? Now looking back.
At this point,
on
my
that
brain
project,
was like, whoa.
Yeah, on that project.
Is there any artist you would have loved to work with?
Like, now, then.
This is Inception.
At this point, yes, it is. At this point, Kasiva is the third member.
No, but like the thing is, very specifically why Kasiva is because it is our mission to only work with people who are excited to work with us. We are not in the business of working with anyone who needs us to run after them, or no matter what it is. It doesn't, like whether it's a publisher, whether it's a booker, whether it just drains. It takes a lot from the artist. And because our foundation is very much anything goes, it doesn't mean that anything can go. You know, that's like a facade because the rules are very strict. And why we choose Kasiva, I mean, besides the fact that she's very cute. Shout out to Kasiva Mutua. No, but for real, she's a brilliant artist. She has a very interesting vocal texture that complements mine as well. She's an amazing percussionist, an amazing drummer. Everyone knows that. I mean, if you know Kasiva, you know. And whenever we're working together, she brings this very beautiful energy. And that's what we feed off of as Unganisha.
Yeah. I think her energy is what's really, I feel like it's where she's matching or like fusing into the Ganesha project a lot. We have worked with the other artists as well, but not as much as featuring artists, but we have worked with some amazing drummers and percussionists in Norway as well. So there's a lot of I think those people have added a lot of interesting textures to our sound, which can be, that's a problem with electronic music. Sometimes it can become a bit too sterile. So it's fun to get both different textures, but also kind of like working with percussionists. It's always interesting for me from like the rhythm perspective of things, how they kind of like, you think of it in a certain way and then they hear it in a completely different way, and that kind of like changes the whole vibe or the feel of the song. But it all depends on when in the process they come in. So like with Kasiva, for Koro and Luangni, she came in quite late in the process, but with Ochwe that we just put out, she was part in the very beginning. Like we decided like we wanted to make a song from scratch together. So she was in there like on the very first session that we had together on that song.
So do you have those other collaborations in the album?
Actually, I mean,
there are no other cute people?
There's cute people everywhere in Nairobi. There's cute people. We only, it's a standard, But I mean,
in that sense, it's not anything goes. It's very strict standards.
We're saying anything goes that people can bring themselves. They're like, Banje, you've seen that one? No, I mean, we're trying to keep it very much in-house. At least in my opinion, for me, after having I like how you're laughing. No, but we don't know you never know what a song needs until you get to it. I mean, if we have some sketches and if we feel like we want to feature someone, we'll obviously just approach them. It's not all closed doors, but, we also have to really guard our creativity and see what that is.
And coincidentally, regarding Ochwe, I made that remark when I talked about the song, how the texture, Kasiva, fit very well with your texture, and how you are two vocalists who have unique textures. Someone else I include in that conversation is Nabalayo.
Yes, very much.
Has a unique
unique texture
to her voice that I noticed with Ochwe as well in terms of that conversation.
Yeah.
So looking at Koro and Luangni Hotel and the rest of the EP, really, when we discuss language and language expression, why does the Luo remain important to Labdi?
Wow, because the Luo is very expressive. There's, it's like you can't translate some things in Swahili to English, It's the same thing for the Luo. I feel like it's even more melodic. Like if I was to sing Koro Koro, which is Sahi, like it would just sound weird. Or right now, And because I'm trying to really cement the language, even when it comes to, like, you can't find Luo on Spotify. And how many Luo musicians write Luo music? You know what I'm saying? It's just my contribution towards cementing these languages that are called dialects. And then also just using a language that is my own. It's very authentic and it's just melodious. Yeah.
So when you're performing overseas, do you give context to the audience? Because I remember when we talked to Fadhili regarding Shindushi sometime last year or the year before, you mentioned that for you, language is usually a thing because you want to understand what the artist is saying, and even told Fadhili that, and then later you loved the project. I don't know if you struggled with this one.
Even with Kucheza, I would have loved to know what you were saying, but that did not stop me from loving the EP.
We are glad.
But I would have loved to know,
I'm very happy that you are comfortable with that.
Do you give context in performances, and also do you have to tell Banje, this is what I'm singing about on this song, and how does that work in terms of conceptualization for the two of you, and then performances overseas? Not even here generally.
I personally, I don't like to explain things so much or at all.
Tell me about it.
I don't like, just take it and go, you know. Because I don't feel like everyone pays us the same courtesy, you know, of explaining. You know how runners normally struggle when they're trying to speak English, like, you know, it's the worst. I mean, but I personally just don't like to explain myself. But sometimes I feel like people really some people connect with your music through understanding. Like some people, I'm not pointing.
At all.
I don't even know a single person who's like that. You know, some listeners, you know, prefer to know the meaning. And in those cases because sometimes I've performed in places where people shout, "What does it mean?" And I'm like, okay, let me finish and then I'll tell you, you know what I'm saying? But I think it just really depends on the audience. Sometimes it makes a difference to say something, but most times I'm just like, ah. But when it comes to Banje, I just write the lyrics and the translation and I set them to him. Or he'll ask, what does it mean, like before the show? Yeah. You know? Or
I had one request one time. We almost...
Yeah, we went like at loggerheads, you know, and I was like...
I had one request of like what the lyrics should, like the theme of the lyrics or the theme of the lyrics in the song.
Yeah, I mean that
almost
was
ended the duo.
Yeah, it was supposed to be, you know, the end of Unganisha, because I mean I do get where you are coming from. I understand it's not a big deal at all or anymore, and I understand if you want to chime in with regards to that. It's the same thing that happened to me and you, is that you produced with a certain feeling, and I listened to the song and I got a different feeling. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we had that little moment. But it's okay. I mean, it does make sense.
We ended up somewhere. That was okay.
I hope.
Yeah, but it's I'm very much like, in general, I don't listen to lyrics so much. So it's more about the vocal. It's more about like as an instrument. So for me, it's more about the vibe and the feeling. Of how it sounds in a way. And I do notice the difference between like when you sing in Luo or Swahili and English, how it sounds. Okay. And I feel like the Luo, the way of singing in Luo, it's like very much part of the core Unganisha sound, even though there's like some songs that are in Swahili and a bit of English in Chunya.
Yeah.
I was very skeptical of that in the beginning. I was just like, that sounded so foreign to me, like all of a sudden have English in there. But it worked out nicely.
Yeah, I think even when I'm writing it, really, it's just about the feeling of the song. I'll just write what the song requires. I'm not gonna force Luo when there's no Luo part. You know, I'm not gonna just I am, who knows, you know, Mahia. Oh no, you know, if the song requires English, if the English translates better and it sounds better, that's what I'm going to use.
We've gone down memory lane in terms of some dark Unganisha moments.
We did translate one song on Bandcamp, I remember. I think maybe it was Leko or something.
Maybe, I think it was actually.
We got feedback from that people appreciated to actually being able to read the lyrics. So for quite a lot of people, I think it does matter a lot, even if it doesn't for me, or even... And you don't like explaining yourself.
No.
But you don't even like translating yourself.
No.
But because you're not on Bandcamp, you never knew there was a translation. And Leko is your fave. You don't even know what it means. You don't even know what it means. Your fave song on the EP.
It's there. It's there.
So regarding the performances of this EP since its release, how have the performances been? And do you have memorable moments from stages that you've been on?
So we really know. Okay, let me think. Yeah, we did a festival in Norway was it July last year? Mm-hmm. Like overnight, like where people, like maybe 400 or 500 people come and they all camp there, so they create this kind of like small family. They even had like everybody ate dinner together at the same time, which is kind of cute. That was maybe the best show we ever did. It was just so fun. I don't think a lot of people knew about us from before, but they were all just there, you know, ready to party and have a good time, and they really like embraced the spirit of our music. And it just like, it really like fed back to us and gave us a different energy on stage as well. I mean, like I was doing things on stage I'd never done before, like fist pumping and just like, yeah, go. I think that one definitely a highlight. Do you have any others?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of really good shows. I think Haim was very special in that, like, I don't know what those people were on, but it was something else, to be honest. Like,
Just
and when
peace and love.
yeah, it was literally that. It was like YOLO in the highest form, you know. It was really nice, and the reception. I think as a performer, when you can see people are enjoying it genuinely, it really makes it all worth it, you know. We've had some good. Even Mayotte was a really good show. People, I think the thing is, people just responding. Kenyans, I feel, are great listeners and a great audience, but you'll be like, hey, Nivateo, you know, there's always someone shouting somewhere. It's just about paying attention, you know. You can get your beer, but just pay attention at that moment when the artist is on stage, you know.
If you want to talk, go out.
Just go out. It's and let the ones who are staying there listen, you know. It's okay, you know. Also, we had a really good show at what's the Move. Yeah, we were just surprised that everyone came, and you came, and it was really amazing to see. It was more family than it was fans, and it felt really amazing.
And Beneath the Baobabs for New Year's.
I didn't enjoy that so much, to be honest. Our set was cut short, do you know? Don't remember. Our set,
it's okay. But up until we got cut, it was a good show.
It was literally like the set was like, you know, the last two songs are the ones they cut. I was so mad. I was just like, you know, I wanted to shoot someone.
Yeah. So
but
I was about to mention the show at Move as I got into my next question regarding performances.
Yeah.
And so you're about to perform here, rather the next space at the Mist tonight. So I was thinking about how you rehearse. So at Move, I noted differences in terms of arrangement. It was playful in terms of what you listen on the record is not what you get by watching you live. And you missed an amazing show.
I'm sorry.
You missed.
But don't miss. Don't be missed
an
tonight.
amazing show, and you wanted to watch them live. It was amazing.
Cooking, huh?
And
Yeah,
then
I was baking cakes.
and then I watched you perform at the Mist some months back. It was a solo show, and you got to explore and experiment more. So I was curious, watching these two performances, how you go about your rehearsals. Because at that show at the Move, you seem to have some moments of improvisation when you are performing. So how do you perform as you're going to a set together and a performance together?
Our rehearsals look very crazy because we have in-ears most of the time. So it's most times someone else can't hear what we're doing, but it's we prepare. You know, actually I realized the other day that we have a lot of tracks. Like we have many songs that we can perform. So it's just a matter of a lot of preparation, which Bant does a lot of preparation, because you've seen his setup is like 100 electronic devices, and sometimes I'm just like, ish. And then I'm just here with my root and my one mic, you know, hoping for the best. You know, it's like 3 computers, you know, that type of thing. But it's it really comes from a lot of preparation from Bant and laying those tracks, and the fact that he's also the producer of the track, so he doesn't have anyone to call and be like, oh, can you send me those stems as well? So the fact that the process is so in-house, it makes it so much easier to rehearse.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like as with any band, like to make a set list that makes sense in terms of like the energy, the BPM, all of those things, to feel like it's all kind of like flowing, and making sure that, okay, here we do like a transition directly over to this song, here we stop for like a bit of talking, all of those things. And because we're playing with tracks and we don't have a live band, or it's a very electronic sound, we have tried to make sure that there's like at least some room for a bit more improvisation, a bit more freedom, so it's not all just exactly the same it is as on records, to bring a bit more like live elements into it by like adding specifically kind of like extended intros, and having kind of like a looped section in the middle of the songs where we can, you know, improvise together or interact with the audience, or like, Labdi can teach the audience how to dance or bring people up on stage, and have that kind of freedom of like just making sure that everything is looping until we decide to like, okay, now we move on to the next step. So I think now the last year and a half, we have kind of like, we know all of the songs that we do live now is kind of like it's set there, and we have kind of, we've done all of that hard work of creating those kind of looping points and whatever. So rehearsing now is more of kind of like repeating, remembering the synth lines and the vocal lines and the text and those kind of things. Lyrics. And then of course like deciding for each venue, depending on the length and the vibe and all of that, what kind of set list makes sense.
So speaking of technique and methodology, how has Unganisha informed and influenced your solo creative processes in terms of recorded works and performances?
Unganisha has not influenced me at all. I'm perfect. No. We have a show to play together. No, I mean, Unganisha has been beyond, like it has stretched my mind. Have you said stretched?
Stretched
my mind. No, I mean, there's so many more projects that we do outside of Unganisha that are really still part of Unganisha. For example, and we talked about this during the discussion we had that Furaha was moderating. There's a project we did called Co-Creative Spaces, where it's literally like improvisation with AI. And that, like, I remember every day after we rehearsed, I used to feel like I have been digging 5 farms. Like I've been digging everyone's farm, because your brain is just like stretched to the maximum. And just that improvisation. And I learned a lot of improvisation from him also, because he does a lot of that, you know? So, and that informs the kind of show we do. Just the fact that in studio we can do whatever we want. It also means that I'll carry the same skills into my own sessions or other collaborations. So it really has been a great palette for me to pick from. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think it's I mean, I didn't produce electronically before Unganisha. I was coming very much from like an experimental, improvised background, but also kind of like rock bands and playing in bands and recording traditionally in studio. So the whole kind of electronic production thing came from Unganisha, and the interest for, in general, like beats and rhythms and how to, you know, create different kinds of grooves, especially. Has influenced me a lot, and like my solo live set that I did at the Mist in January was very much like a combination of my old self and everything that I've been through with Unganisha, of like trying to combine this like textural free improvisation things, but also with kind of like working with rhythms and beats and just like improvising and creating different kinds of rhythms and grooves and whatnot on the spot.
Taking us back to the EP, Band for You, which are there any production places where you felt you were in your pocket, and are there any vocal performances you feel Labdi gave that you felt she's hitting it right there? And as for you, Labdi, are there any vocal performances on the EP that you gave that you felt,
this was it,
this hakuna mtu hapa, you know,
nimeomoka after,
you know? And also same for band's production. Are there ones where you listen to and you're like, yo, hey band,
all the time?
Good answer.
I think my highlight for production, I think it's Junia, the one I enjoyed the most. I felt like got to have that log drum in there for the first time and getting it really like energetic. Vocal, I'm not sure about vocal performance, because she always does a great vocal performance, but in more like in interesting vocal lines, and how I think Leko is like one of the magical ones of like how it's like how it just like kind of transitioned from this like idea of the very simple drum beat and the guitar thing, and then how it just like became this something else.
For me, I mean, every project is very different and they all sound amazing. And that's when you get in the studio, it's like just what you like is what you're going to do, you know? And of course, Bant is an amazing producer, so all of them are really cool. There's only one song I really don't like, and it's because of the way I wrote it. Like the lyrics are horrible. So,
but the song is dope.
and the song is dope. The lyrics
are something else.
The lyrics are many. Like, why did I? So it's too much. But I think
tell us which song that
no,
is.
I'm not.
I knew you wouldn't.
No.
You have to buy a certain vinyl single
certain to know which one of the two songs on the vinyl. I think for me, the tracks that I really enjoy, I have like 4 maybe. So there's Chunya is one of them. Penzi is a great production song for me. Lwangni Hotel, and Ochwe. Those are really, really cool production songs for me. Vocally, I'll say Mpenzi is a great song. Leko is a bit difficult. So Mpenzi and Chunya. But I think they're all, and Lwangni Hotel, but I think they're all really, really cool. I really enjoy those songs.
So on the EP, ni Lwangni Hotel, Chunya.
Lwangni Hotel, Mpenzi, Chunya. Lwangni Hotel, Chunya,
Leko.
Yeah.
So we brought up Duo Guru as we started.
Yeah.
So what inspired the sentiments behind Duo Guru? And am I right in my my dissection of the word?
Because even where the pun that you came with, because even where that is coming from is from his fave Leko, and this dreamy state, and then the sort of inspiration and encouragement to the person you're addressing, and this sort of I've just nimeenda tu hapa Trondheim kupiga picha, right? And then on Duo Guru, it's this call, a clarion call sort of to people to return sort of to their roots, and the idea of home comes across. So what really inspired the sentiments on that song?
I'm trying to remember the lyrics.
This is good rehearsal for it later today.
Every day I'm fighting a war, But
home. I loved the disco drums on that.
Yeah, it's very cool. Like, it's amazing, the production, huh? And he also does the mixing. So, I think when it comes to Duo Guru, it's really just about, as you've said, people coming back home and people putting their roots where their roots really are. And I'm not saying that we should not invest outside. And, everyone right now in Nairobi is like, I want to move out of this country because this country, whatever. But, at the end of the day, it's our responsibility. Exactly. And I do understand that sentiment.
That's different.
I understand the sentiment, but at the end of the day, it's still our responsibility to say no to the things that are happening. It really is our responsibility. Like, will we ever get mad enough to change things? Will we ever? It's like 10, 20, 1,000 people one time every Monday or Thursday, depending on how they feel. And then the rest, everyone else is just comfortable at home, We all need to, so it really comes from that. And I really, really enjoy being a Kenyan. I don't enjoy, but I also enjoy,
Yeah.
So it really just comes from that sentiment of just nationalism and just loving where you're from.
Yeah.
And then the other song was? Yeah.
It also ties to you speaking to yourself, if that is a thing, even in terms of tying that to language and your culture.
Very much so. And even when we're talking about like even the visa process, when they're trying to deny you, I'm like, trust me, I want to go back home. I promise you. Like, I'm not gonna stay in that country, whatever country it is. I really want to come back home. And did I write it after I got stuck in Norway?
No, because that was last year, and
I can't remember what song I wrote after, because there was a time I got stuck in Norway because of COVID, and they were like, oh, you can't go back. I'm like, but you never want us here, so let me just go. Let me just go back home. It was one of those things that you'll have to encounter. And he had an encounter in my hotel. So, it's visas and just these borders need to be open, all of them. But it's just really speaking about coming home, loving where you're from, loving who you are, appreciating that, and cementing your feet in the ground. Yeah.
Open the borders. Labdi is in her Pan-African bag.
They open the borders.
Open or close them. Everyone, either all of us you close or all of us you open. Yeah.
We tried closing during COVID. It wasn't fun.
It was not fun.
Let's go for open.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Like if they're gonna open, then everyone should open. Yeah. But okay, I'm done with that sentiment. Don't ask me after, please. Yeah.
As we slowly come to our conclusion, I'm curious, did you execute Kucheza as you intended?
Musically, yes. Release-wise, not. I'm not going to mention the label that we tried to work with. But yeah, they basically kind of fucked us over. There was this whole thing of they changed the order of the tracks, they misspelled Kasiva's name, they put Duguru as a featuring artist on one of the tracks. It was just like
insane. Just
yeah. Maybe they misread the sentiment. No, so the whole kind of release process of it did not go as we wanted.
It was very stressful.
We had to pull the release 5
days. 3 days even.
Yeah.
It was 3 days.
3 days before release. It's this is not, you can't do this. This is just pull it and we'll put it out ourselves in 2 weeks. Or
even got sick.
Yeah.
For real, it was horrible.
Yeah. So that was awful. But we learned from that. That's all you can do. Learn from it, move on. We put it out there, and now for the album, we know what to do and what not to do. And now we started our own label instead. Anything goes.
Anything goes.
And we set up distribution with the Orchard, and everything is peachy, we hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, creativity or Unganisha music is just about having fun. If we're not having fun in the process, there's nothing we're doing in the room.
Things.
If and even that experience working with those who cannot be named, we realized that was the moment we were like, actually, that and the Leko music video, that and the Leko music video, because someone else was supposed to do the animation.
The animation.
Yeah. And we kept on coming like, oh, this is our budget. And did you know that animating for a minute is like 50K?
The animation is.
Animation
I had no idea. Me, I was being sent quotes. I was like,
Yo,
Wallahi.
What do you mean?
Wallahi, this is what it is.
Animations have
budgets. And the thing is, everything that's Unganisha, if we haven't received funding from somewhere, all the money comes from us. After a show, you're like, okay, I'm going to put this money back, right? Yeah. So we said, okay, we're going to pay you whatever you need to be paid. The next time is like, no, it's not enough money. I said, okay, fine. This guy was just taking us round and round until we said, you know what, actually, we will do it ourselves. Yeah. None of us had animated before. We didn't even know what we were going to do, but we're just like, you know what, it's okay. We want an animation. And if you've seen the video, you know what it looks like. And it took hours. It was just that's why we've never done another one again.
Yeah. It was a whole month.
Oh, it was
Labdi sitting in Nairobi, drawing,
on
running
paper,
to the cyber every day, scanning. I was sitting at home,
papers,
After Effects, YouTube tutorials, just
it was an intense
That's why it's expensive.
Yeah.
It was and we did it in a month.
Yeah.
We should have taken the guy still a month to do. I mean, we saved on money. Did we spend that money on anything? Probably. But you see, it's those experiences that always teach us to work with people who are excited. Even, when you're meeting someone, when you meet Anyiko, someone like Anyiko, she's excited to see us. You know what I'm saying? It's these things that matter in creativity. Yeah. It's not about, sometimes not even about the money. It does matter, but just people who, surrounding yourself with people like you who are so enthusiastic about our work, Furaha, all of you, it really makes a difference.
So you had talked about this already when you spoke about your moment where the duo was to, separate.
That's almost every day. It's almost every day, even today. Even after this, we'll see.
None of us have eaten the whole day.
So we're on the edge. We're like, hey, you guys are helping. You're like,
if we can get through
you're
sound
helping
check.
us. What sound check?
And then you've talked about how your ethos is having fun
Yeah.
as you're creating, and that's what unifies what you do. That's what in our unganisha, if we were to say so. Do you have any other moments creatively or culturally that you had divergences or that unified you more?
We never, apart from that disagreement on the on the lyric that one time, I don't think we ever had like any fights when it comes to the creative process. It's more like childish. We ended up being kind of like siblings at this point. Even when we went to Mayotna recently, I was on a video call with my mom, and she was like, "Oh, you guys better not fight. You know, you're like siblings now. Don't argue. Stay friends." So all the arguing is kind of like petty things outside, but then we're also very kind of professionally. Hey, stop pointing.
Petty things.
We're very professionally oriented. So when it comes to like rehearsal or in the studio or doing a show, whatever, it's all kind of like, okay, enough with that. Let's focus on the whatever.
Yeah. Anything goes. But if it's time for work, man, you gotta work. Even if you're hungry or you want to cry, even if you've been dumped, no one cares. Let's go.
If you're listening to this and you're a Unganisha fan and you ever hear at some point in future they've broken up, the red flags were here. the crumbs were in this intro.
Yay.
Hey, we don't stick to single colors, so our flags are going to be multicolored, like our outfits.
Yeah.
No
So
red flags.
we have Furaha here seated behind me. We have Roger next to Rauka. Do you have any sentiments, any questions? Ungependa kuuliza Unganisha. What about Ochwe?
Oh.
I'm just like, that song is like, I bought that song because it just shikad me. Like,
Thank you.
And
Thank
I reviewed it and I noted it's your longest song to
Thank
date.
you.
6 minutes long. Kasiva
Yeah.
have a verse, has a verse and then play some
Yeah.
crazy
Thank you.
percussion. And
Thank
even
you
on
so much.
Luangni and Koro, I loved how Ali fit into the soundscape in as much as she came in last minute into
Yeah.
the process.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Furaha. Appreciate it so much. And you really tweet our music. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Sana.
So as we finish then, since Roger has nothing to say,
Me have a question for you. Where is your Marvin?
good question. Good question,
For
Labdi.
years, I always saw
Good
him with
question,
a
Labdi.
Marvin. I was like, who's
You're
this?
surprised.
Oh! What happened to the Marvin, man?
I think that was that was the first time we were meeting band.
Yeah.
At the Mist.
Yeah.
I don't know who was playing. Do you remember who was playing that day?
Who was playing?
I don't know who was playing. Was it Monrea later?
I think so. Yeah, it was Monroe actually.
And then we came through, I think, and then we met you for the first time, and you were surprised he had no
I was like,
Marvin.
where's your Marvin? And I've been seeing him in the industry for years.
Yeah.
Like,
OG.
I'm like, I know him. Where is it? I'm like, where is it? Yeah, where is it though?
I went through a metamorphosis.
Okay, that's good.
A butterfly.
They pimped the caterpillar.
That's dope.
He became a butterfly. I mean, you can. I don't know if you need the mic. Not to ask your sentiments just regarding the EP generally, and what you felt. It was your number 3 on top
Number
EPs
what?
of 2021. Imagine.
I'm done. Like, this is what you brought me here to do.
Imagine.
It was
Kendrick better be number 1.
I don't even what was number 1? I think it was
For you.
yeah.
For you, it was Peace Places
Peace Places.
by Nyokabi Karaoke.
Nyokabi
Oh yeah,
Karaoke.
yeah. I agree.
That's fine.
If it's Nyokabi,
It's Nyokabi, that's fine.
it's fine. Mm.
So yeah, for the people who've been listening, I think like hopefully more than our usual audience, the 4 or 5 views we usually get.
Yeah, for sure. two or three, yeah.
Yeah, like 2 or 3, isn't it? But yeah, so I am Roger. That is the voice you're listening to. This is very awkward, but yeah, ni amazing. I think when ulianza kufanya the conversations, it kind of breathed new life into the Sana Kwa Sana and what we're trying to do, because we finally get to peek behind the curtain, which I know they say you should never meet your
Your idols,
your
your
idols.
heroes.
Yeah, but for the so far so good.
So far, so good.
So far for the artists we've talked to,
interviewed,
the projects that we've loved, finding more about what happens behind the scenes. Imekuwa amazing. It was just the listening experience, because going back to language, for him it was a huge deal, but for me I feel it added to the listening experience, because you have the production itself sounds like out of this world. So the fact that I don't even speak the language makes it even feel like it's more out of this world than so that for me that was just beautiful music. I'm very excited to see you guys perform later on. I would say join us, but I think by the time you
the show would have happened.
But if you ever come across a poster saying Unganisha or Labdi or Band, just do yourself a favor. Purpose to attend, purpose to experience the magic that is Unganisha.
Thank you.
Thank you. I
you.
hope you guys continue producing. I'm excited to listen to the album.
Thank you.
Maybe you'll add a few translations for.
He'll get all of them, all the translations.
For my brother.
I'll start writing them after the show today.
For my brother.
For you.
But to bigger and greater things for both of you.
So,
thank you so much. Thank you.
A year plus later, after reviewing the EP, listening to the EP.
I watched the review yesterday.
Which one? Yeah. You rewatched. That's it. That's small views. We try, man. No one cares about these things.
We can.
Yeah.
Irauka, any other sentiments?
It's about the quality of the views, not the quantity. Yeah?
Hey, it was a bit loud from you, eh?
There's something.
I'm not. I'm not trying. I'm having some doubts. I'm like, I should have been eating, eh? No. But it really does matter, because,
Yes, for sure. For posterity.
We started with like 35 friends from. Do you even have 35 friends, but?
I have thousands.
His aunties and uncles, my aunties, uncles, and then a few friends. Yeah. So that's how we started. And then we my yacht, Next, it's going to be you in my yacht. So this is how things start. So
I love kucheza, love Unganisha. If you ever decide to break up, inaeleweka, lakini like send me like unreleased stuff. The ones
exclusive.
If you the ones which you won't have released and you won't be planning to release. Looking forward to the album. Do you have a release date?
No, not date. Month, yes, but we'll just keep it under wraps for now.
Before summer?
No. In the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but we're not gonna say.
Yeah.
Can we get any exclusive on it?
Okay. Bant is itching because he tells everyone everything.
Interestingly enough,
he said that
he was
before
like,
you came here.
They asked if we're going to perform in these new outfits today. I was like, I probably shouldn't tell, because Labdi would be annoyed.
Yes, I'd be mad as hell.
But I think the cat's out of the bag. No, I mean, we just started the process of making the album. So we have a working title. We have tentative dates towards the end of the year, but nothing is like set yet. Because again, because we're based in different continents. I'm leaving Nairobi now on Sunday. I love this coming to Norway in June, but we have to. We can't rush this process either. So there's going to be music. We're going to release music in the fall for sure. Okay. Not exactly sure when the album's going to come, because we also want to take our time and do it properly and make sure that it's solid. Yeah, proper.
Yeah. Then also we started to create from scratch. Like we said, all the music we've done before that hasn't been released out of the bag. We're starting from scratch. So that's something that. Have I given you something?
Yes, definitely.
Good enough?
Definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
I don't need to give you my liver. Okay.
Yeah,
I was a bit tense.
We have to.
Yo.
If there are listening sessions, exclusive,
Of course, yeah. Of
please
course,
just
you
tell us.
will. Of course. Like,
can
you'll be the
call-
first to know.
Just us three, like we're okay. Like you don't have to play for anyone else.
Okay. Sawa.
Actually, 4 plus
So lyrics, only you. Okay.
Listening
I'm just
sessions
writing
for-
things down because, yeah.
So you can finish by telling us how it feels, how everything feels 1 year later, 1 year and a few months later after the release of Kucheza.
Yeah.
And any other closing sentiments? Yeah, Kucheza.
Yeah.
As Roger says, if you watched our reviews, you know.
For me, it feels good. We've done a couple of shows, and I think we're ready to move on to the next level, whatever that level is. I feel really good about the music we created, and I'm really excited about the music that we're creating now. And really appreciate you having us on your show. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I was like texting with you, and it's like, I don't know about you there. We always overschedule, always. But thank you so much for taking time. And we really appreciate you for investing in our music. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any strong feelings about it, really, to be honest, because it's like always like moving forward.
Yeah.
And then also there's something about this weird creative process, like you have to enjoy the process first of all. That's very important because that's 99% of the time you're in process, and then once you release something, it's always like a bit anticlimactic. You put it out there, it's you get some nice feedback, but then it's all okay, I'm never listening to this track again. That's how I usually feel, especially because I'm also doing the final production and the mixing, and
So you
listening
listen
to
to
these
it a
tracks
lot.
over and over and over and over again. To like
Definitely.
and then when you shoot a music video, you have to listen to the track times again, and then when you're editing the music video again, you have to listen to, and then you create the fact that I'm not sick of Ochwe yet, it's I think it's a good sign for that track. But yeah, I'm more about the future than the past. Like I'm really happy. I'm proud of what we put out and that release. But it was kind of like making, I think Labdi mentioned earlier, it's kind of like marking how we were as Unganisha at that point in time. And then since then now it's been more like moving on with different projects and different approaches, like not like doing something completely new, but like trying to see, I think if there's one thing I'm always afraid of, it's like to get bored or stagnate. So like always like pushing new ideas, new things, like what can we do different, what kind of sounds can we try out, what kind of whatever, should we make a 3D video game next time instead of a music video, or like some random crazy project that's going to take up all our time and give us absolutely no money, but it's
like
fun.
people who work, our friends who work are just like 9 to 5 hours. It's like, these people
like
need jobs.
5 to 5, so 9 to 9ers.
Yeah.
So
But
this is one of those projects that I have spoken about a million times on our Sunday session videos. We've talked about it on our reviews, on our list of EPs. We've mentioned it last year on our media list. It was Stop. On our India list, it was Stop as well. And if you're listening to this and you've not listened to Kucheza,
Unado.
Yo, just tafuta the project, tafuta Kucheza, listen to the EP, check out Unganisha, listen to their music, and watch our review if you haven't as well. And once they release their album towards the end of the year or whenever that comes out, Duo Guru, msikize.
Now that's how you.
Wow.
and listen to what they have to offer. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Labdi. Na Banje, asanteni sana for this.
Definitely.
Looking
Karibu.
forward to what you release and your performance this evening. Shukran to Roger na Furaha as well for joining and helping us make this possible. Ulikuwa my
Thank you.
person whom we talked to that made this happen. So asanteni sana and shukran for tuning in.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. What else?
And
TikTok.
YouTube.
TikTok,
YouTube,
and
TikTok.
YouTube.
as well.
Yeah.
Follow us.
Subscribe as
Yeah.
well.
Follow us. Follow.
It's Unganisha Music
on
everywhere.
everything.
Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a rap, boy.
This fell off.
Eat it. Eat it.
Food.
You're saying food. We're going.